So I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking to you about what do we mean by person-centered thinking, but I don't want you to think it's a substitute for training. When we actually teach people how to use the person-centered thinking skills, it's a 2-day course. And we have people practice them, and practice them, and practice them, so that they can really walk away with competency. So this is going to be more like a quick overview and some illustration of how some of it works. And it is really about these core concepts of what's important to and what's important for. And when we started thinking about this, and it started because we were discovering that the more we taught people just how to write plans, the more we wound up with better paper rather than better lives. And we started going, what do we need to teach? We said, well, we need to teach the balance between happy and safe, happy and healthy. But when we started really digging in, what we discovered was that happy and healthy is not a big enough basket. When we talk about happy, we're missing things like fulfilled. We're going to get to that in a minute. But there's actually research out there, which won't be shocking to some of you, that couples with small children at home are less happy than couples who have no small children at home. This did not come as a shock to many of you. And it is amazing what you can publish. But the important thing is they found that while they were less happy, they were more fulfilled. And that there's a distinction between happy and fulfilled. But when we started looking at important too, we also recognized that simply having space on a form where we go, what's important to you, doesn't give you the information that you're looking for. That you have to teach a whole set of discovery skills. The skills that help people really know. And some of these skills are pretty straightforward, and some of them take a little bit of work. And all of them get trapped into becoming forms. And sometimes I think what we just need to do is just recognize how it works. So if we were looking at your relationships, we could do something called a relationship map, a simple relationship map, which is just a series of concentric circles divided into quadrants. And at the top we would put family. And we would ask you to tell us how close you feel to family members. And you're looking at emotional distance, not blood relationship. So I bet there's a number of people in the room who have an aunt or an uncle that's closer to them than a sister or a brother. And those of you who have multiple sisters and brothers, some of them are closer to you than others. Just the way human relationships work. And when the family gathers around the table for Canadian Thanksgiving, for Christmas, for whatever you celebrate with family, are there family members you hope you will not be sitting next to?
Yes.
Some of you are naming them. That's a dangerous practice. So there are people that you feel closer to than others. And we ask people to fill this out, and each quadrant has a label. But then we ask another question. Who should we be talking to? Who would you like to have contribute to the plan? And if you think about those family members, how many of you have a family member where you go, please God, don't ask them? How many of you have a family member where you go, oh, if they contributed to my plan and had control over my life, it would be hell. Now, I am taking an extreme position, but, I can think of my own family where I'm going, oh, please don't ask her. And other people will be going, absolutely. But when you're doing this with the people that support the person, one of the things you'll see is the way that this works is families here, friends are down here, people who are paid are on both sides, but this would be work or a day service, and this would be home. People who use services frequently have more people who are paid in their life and fewer people who are not paid. If we had you fill this out, which we do in training, you would go, I don't know what to put here. I don't really have people in my life who are paid. And you wind up with a hairdresser, a dentist, a doctor. But if you turn to the people who use your services and you say, who's closest to you? Many, many of you would have people who are paid as people who are closest to you. And we rely on those people for information. So that leads you to a whole other question. Who should I talk to versus who should I listen to? And you need to sort who should I talk to from who should I listen to. And we teach 3 questions, which seem to do a really good job of sorting who to listen to. So if I was doing this with Amy, I would be saying to the people who are closest to her, what do you like the most about Amy? First question. Second question, what do you admire the most about Amy? Third question, when's the last time you had fun together? To tell you how this can work, I was doing this training in California, and the person we were doing the plan with was a guy named Tony. And Tony is this amazing man. He's very tall, somebody I literally look up to. And he makes an entrance into a room like Kramer from Seinfeld. But unlike Kramer, he has the positive energy of Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. So if you were to merge Kramer and Tigger, you would get Tony, who doesn't communicate with words, but boy, does he communicate with his behavior. And I'm thinking, what an amazing man. And I talked to the manager of the group home, who's known him for 7 years, worked with him for 40 hours a week. And I said, what do you like the most about Tony? And she said, hard question. He's no trouble in the bath. I went, really? What do you admire the most about Tony? She said, he helps with dressing. When's the last time you had fun together? I'm not paid to have fun with Tony. I'm paid to help Tony have fun. Another one of my personal definitions of hell would be being dependent on someone who doesn't have a personal connection with me. So she was somebody I was going to talk to, but not somebody I was going to listen to. She would have information about what's important for, but not what's important to. And I went and talked to the woman who was working with him during the day in a traditional day service. And very, young woman, probably on her first or second job in her life. And I said, what do you like the most about Tony? And she said, how sometimes you just have too much fun on the weekends and you come in dragging, going, how am I going to get through this day? And she said, you know, I just think I'm going to get to spend the day with Tony. And he just fills you with this amazing energy. And you go, today's not going to be a problem. And I went, and I'm going to listen to you. I don't even have to ask the other two questions. No. You have that personal connection. Those three questions will sort pretty consistently who to talk to versus who to listen to. And if you are dependent on other people, you want those people who have a personal connection to give you the information that's going to go in the plan, to give you the rest of the information that's up there, to look at those other discovery skills.